The courtroom air was thick with the scent of floor wax and the palpable tension radiating from the two individuals standing before the bench. I, Judge Ebony K. Williams, adjusted my glasses and looked down at the nameplate that defined the parameters of this chamber. To those gathered here, it might just be a piece of engraved metal, but to me, it represents a sacred trust. I am from North Carolina by way of Louisiana, carrying with me a bit of West Coast cool tempered by a sharp New York edge. In this courtroom, the only thing that truly matters is how I see the law, and I see it through the lens of equal justice. That concept is the bedrock of our country. It is about freedom, integrity, and the relentless pursuit of fairness for every single person, regardless of their background, their orientation, or their station in life. My goal is always to be a voice for those who feel they have none. "Do we have a problem, ma'am?" I asked, my voice steady and firm. "No, I do not, Your Honor," the woman replied, shifting uncomfortably. I turned my gaze to the plaintiff. "Sir, you run your household, and this man gets to run his." I decided to become an attorney and pursue the law because I wanted to ensure that the systems meant to protect us actually worked. This court is here to hold people accountable, and that is what equal justice is all about. Today, we are addressing a conflict between Mike Graff, the plaintiff, and Lisa Fuller, the defendant. Mr. Graff claims that the mother of his child crossed a line by installing monitoring software on a phone he provided to their son. Ms. Fuller, on the other hand, contends that their 10-year-old son required monitoring after Mr. Graff gave him the device behind her back. "Mr. Graff, I see you are suing for $5,000. Why are we in court today?" I asked. "That is correct, Your Honor," Mr. Graff began, his hands trembling slightly. "Sadly, we are here because I am suing the mother of my son for emotional distress and invasion of privacy. The distress is so severe that I am currently seeing a therapist for post-traumatic stress disorder, and frankly, she needs to pay for it." I nodded slowly, signaling for him to continue. "I am sorry to hear that you are going through such a difficult time. So, you are claiming that your therapy is currently projected to cost $5,000. What exactly has she done to lead you to this point?" "The main reason we are here, Your Honor, is because she installed software on the phone I gave to our son," Mr. Graff explained, his voice rising with frustration. "This software allows her to see all text messages, emails, and everything else, including deleted text messages that I had exchanged with my former girlfriend. It has resulted in a constant bombardment and harassment. I want her to be held accountable and for boundaries to be set so that we can move forward." I looked at him intently. "You are very upset, Mr. Graff, I can see that. Let us back up for a moment. How long were you in a relationship with this woman, and how old is your child?" "Mikey is 10 years old," he replied. "We were together for a brief time. It was a one-night stand. That happens. Mikey was not the plan. However, we are thankful for him, and we have tried to make it work for about a year." "As a couple?" I clarified. "Yes, as a couple," he answered. "And that was not successful?" "No," he admitted. "So you two have been co-parenting for many years now, given that Mikey is 10, correct?" "That is correct, Your Honor." "And how has that been going?" "So, it has been going pretty okay until this point, and she is now disagreeing, which we will hear in a moment," I noted. "I want to be very clear. There is a cell phone that you gave your son. You're saying she put spyware on this device, but you're also telling me that this software allowed her to see your text messages and private information." "Yes," he insisted. "While my son uses it, it is still my phone. I bought it for him. I need to be able to use it on occasion if my phone is dead, or if I am at a place and my phone is charging. So we kind of share the phone." "And you have your own phone as well?" "Correct," he replied. "And you do not need him to see everything that is on your phone?" "I certainly hope not," I remarked dryly. "Exactly," he said. "You are saying this has caused you trauma." "How?" "It is an invasion of privacy," Mr. Graff continued. "She called me up out of the blue. This was the big spark that led us here. I was going about my day when she called me, fully unhinged, screaming at me. She asked when I was planning on telling her that I was going to move." I paused to process this. "What was she talking about, sir?" Why was she hearing about a move from the phone? That is exactly it, he said. I am not moving. I told her that I did not know what she was talking about. If I was going to move, I would have told her. Asked her why she was accusing me of this, and she sent me a screenshot. It was a private conversation I was having with my girlfriend at the time. I felt completely violated. Asked her how she was able to see that, and she just said do not worry about it. I held up a hand. Let us pause there. Ms. Fuller, he has been speaking for quite some time. Let me hear from you. What is the truth regarding the spyware, the phone, and the shouting? Well, to start, Your Honor, Ms. Fuller began, her posture composed. He likes to say that we have been co-parenting very well, but it has not been very well for the last 10 years. We have agreed to certain things, and he has gone behind my back regarding the phone. For example, we agreed that we were not going to give our 10-year-old child a phone until he was in middle school, until he was a teenager. Yet he is 10 years old, and he now has a smartphone, which I found out after Mikey came home one day. So you are telling the court that the father of your child was defiant regarding your shared agreement to withhold a cell phone until the teenage years? It was not only my request, we had agreed, she insisted. Yes, but I can own up to that, Mr. Graff admitted. I may have overstepped. I looked back at him. I have not seen this bombardment you mentioned, sir. I have seen you stumbling over your words here in court, and you are clearly upset. However, I am still trying to determine if she is responsible for your condition because that is my job today. I understand you are fragile, and we will get to the claim regarding post-traumatic stress disorder. But I need you to help me understand how she is the cause. You both agreed as consenting adults that this young boy did not need a phone with all of the risks associated with devices and social media. There is a lot of risk in the world today. I can see why, as parents, you would decide collectively to refrain from that. But you went behind her back. Tell me why. Because of our previous relationship, Mr. Graff said, his voice dropping. It was very difficult. That was the onset of a lot of the trauma that I now have, and this situation triggered it. I want to be the best father I can be to him. I want to work on myself, and I do not think it is fair that I have to pay for therapy when she is the cause of all that stress. I did it to appease Mikey, he said. I try to be a good father. I looked over at my assistant. Elijah, we have a people-pleaser on our hands. We have seen this before, I remarked, before turning back to Mr. Graff. You do know that parenting is about doing what is in the best interest of your son, not appeasing him, correct? Absolutely, he replied. Then let us move on, I said. Tell me what she did to generate $5,000 in medical bills. She looked at the deleted messages, saw a conversation between me and my girlfriend, and totally invaded my privacy, he insisted. I leaned forward. Mr. Graff, you keep mentioning a former girlfriend and a breakup. If the relationship with a girlfriend is over, and if the messages were on a phone you shared with your son, why are you claiming such significant emotional distress from a woman who is merely observing the environment you created? Ms. Fuller, I have a question for you, I continued, turning to the defendant. Did you specifically search for these messages to harass him, or were you monitoring the phone due to safety concerns regarding your son? Your Honor, Ms. Fuller explained, the phone was a concern because Mikey started behaving differently. He was secretive. When I discovered the phone, I realized he had access to applications that were not appropriate for a 10-year-old. The software was installed to ensure his safety and to see who he was communicating with. I did not go looking for Mr. Graff's personal romantic life. I stumbled upon it while checking to see if our son was being exposed to dangerous content. This changes the context significantly, I said, looking from one to the other. Mr. Graff, you provided your son with a device that had access to the open internet and private communications, knowing full well the risks. When you share a device, you forfeit a degree of absolute privacy. You chose to use the same device that your minor child uses. But it is my phone, Mr. Graff argued. It is a tool of convenience for you, I corrected, but it is the primary interface for your 10-year-old son. By your own admission, you broke a parenting agreement to provide it. You created the situation where your private information was accessible. Ms. Fuller, while I understand your desire to monitor your son, you must also be mindful of legal boundaries regarding privacy, even if the device is a point of contention. However, in this specific instance, you were acting as a parent protecting a child in a home environment. Mr. Graff, I cannot hold Ms. Fuller responsible for your emotional distress when that distress stems from consequences you brought upon yourself. You are the one who broke the agreement. You are the one who allowed the phone to be a shared medium. I am going to rule in favor of the defendant, Ms. Fuller. The claim for $5,000 is denied. Mr. Graff, I suggest you invest that energy into rebuilding your relationship with your son in a way that does not involve secrecy or violating the trust of his mother. Co-parenting requires two people to act as one unit for the sake of the child. It is time you both acted like the adults you are. Court is adjourned. As the room began to clear, I watched them both. There was still work to be done, but in this chamber, at least for today, the truth had been spoken. Integrity is not always comfortable, but it is the only way to reach a lasting peace. Every decision I make is guided by the hope that these parents will walk out of these doors not as enemies, but as partners in the most important job they will ever have, raising a healthy, happy child. I packed my notes, feeling the familiar weight of responsibility. Justice is not just about the outcome of a case. It is about the path the participants take to get there. Whether they choose to walk that path with grace is entirely up to them. I have done my part. The rest, as they say, is life.